So last week we had what scholars call the Sinaitic moment, right? We were at Sinai, and this week we're still kind of in the Sinaitic moment, right? It goes back and forth, right? But there's a really interesting moment that happens in this Sinaitic moment, and I thought we'd do a little bit of exploration. One, because it's really interesting, and two, because I put it in your passports with this phrase. So now you can all answer it, right? Right? Because God has given the Torah through Moses, and what do the people all say, right? Right? The line says, Vayikach sefer habrit, vayikra be'eznei ha'am, vayomru kol asher diber Adonai, na'aseh v'nishma. Vayikach sefer habrit. He took this book of the covenant, right? Vayikra be'oznai ha'am, and he read it into the ears of the people, right? Or some would say read it aloud, right? Vayomru kol asher, and they said, all the people, they all said, everything, right, that God has said, na'aseh v'nishma, right? Na'aseh, we shall do, v'nishma, and we'll hear. Does that seem a little backwards? Normally, I hear and then I do. That's the ordinary way of things. So, what could it be? Some scribe made a typo 2,000 something years ago. Maybe, but we're not interested in that. So, what I have is, I was reading Rabbi Sachs on this and a few others, and there's sort of 4 explanations from Jewish tradition, and I thought I would share them. Like, what the heck does this mean? Option A. So we'll do it and then we'll hear it, right? This is the view of the Talmud in Shabbat 88a, if anyone's interested, and also Rashi, right? It's just total faith. That's it. Like, God's pretty great. I don't even care. I mean, we'll hear it later, but we're going to do it, right? They didn't even know what God wanted them to do, but it's like the person who says, can you promise me something? And then doesn't tell you what the promise is, right? But the people said, no, God is we have such faith in God that we're going to do that. Here's also a problem, by the way, right? Exodus 24, where this is found, there's like a whole lot of others, like it's out of sequence. Like the covenant hasn't even been finished. Yeah, the order gets a little messy. But that's option A. Okay, option B. So, no, there's another guy named Rashbam, he's a commentator, and he says, we will do all the stuff we've heard so far, and we will hear, like we're open to all the stuff in the future. Okay, that's like a pretty, Rashbam, by the way, is famous for being like a pedantic about like he's really annoying, literal. Rashbam is Rashi's grandson, by the way. And on a total side note, right? Rashbam says in his intro to his own commentary, he said, one time I went to Grandpa, and he said to me, grandson, if I'd only thought of what you thought of, it would have been my entire commentary. Now, weirdly enough, Rashi doesn't write that about himself, but Rashbam, that's what he says. Rashbam says, look, the Israelites are saying, okay, look, it's quite literal. Na'aseh, we're going to do what we hear, and we're open to the rest. So far, so good. All right. Sforno, another commentator, he says, listen, Na'aseh v'nishma is a handietes. Does anyone know what a handietes is? I didn't either until I went to rabbinical school, and I still don't really. But handietes basically is a single idea expressed by 2 words in combination, right? The Israelites are saying, like na'aseh, we shall do, and we shall hear, are actually a single idea that best translates to we shall do with perfect obedience, right? So that's his idea. They're like, look, God, it's not that we have a ton of faith in you, it's just that you've done a lot for us, and so we're going to do it totally obediently. Okay. The last one from Akedat Yitzchak, it's like Rabbi Isaac Arama, doesn't matter, right? Says, no, you've got it all wrong. By the way, rabbis love to say this to each other. They say, we will do, and by doing it, nishma, it could mean we will listen, but it actually means we're going to understand, right? Na'aseh v'nishma, right? Shema has this sense of understanding. It's used in the Tower of Babel, by the way, if anyone has heard of the Tower of Babel, right? It says, let us then go down and confound their speech there, right? So that they shall not yishme'u, shall they not understand each other's speech. And Akedat Yitzchak says, no, don't. It doesn't mean the listening or like Shema sense of things. It means this sense of like understanding. So if you do the things, right, sometimes you got to do a thing to understand it, right? As the book says, right, the burned hand teaches best, right? That's the two towers, by the way. Right, so the burned hand, like you do it and then you'll get it. All right. I bring these 4 ideas up because I think they're really 4 ways of approaching your Judaism. And you'll meet Jews all over who do one of these 4 ways. Some of them will say, look, just take it on faith. Don't worry about empiricism. Don't worry about selfish. Just like be faithful and be Jewish. That's what you should do. Right? Some people will say, and I'm not going to give denominations or movements to any of these, right? Say, look, do what you know and be open to more. If you okay, what works for you, do it, and what you've learned, do it. And like if someone comes up with a new spiritual idea that you dig, nishma, and then we'll listen to it. Like we'll be open to it. Some Jews say, and they're not very fun at parties, some Jews say, right, no, it's just about total obedience. It has nothing to do with faith. God commanded you. It doesn't matter if you're like, I think God is going to do this or that. Just do the commandments. That's the whole point of the religion. There's a command, you do the command, right? If God had said, actually, I would like you to pray the phone book in the mornings, then you would do that. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how it's going to make you feel. This guy is named Yeshayahu Leibovich. He's a very interesting philosopher. But that's what we do, right? And then there's this last understanding, na'aseh v'nishma, right? Right? The Akedat Yitzchak says, right? Understanding will come from doing. We will do and we'll understand, right? And this understanding of tradition says you'll do things, and you've got to do them first for them to make any sense. And only after a while will you start to understand what you're doing. I meet people all the time, speaking of our Amidah earlier, who say, yeah, I'm not reading this. That's basically what they say. They're like, have you read this? It's like a little uninspiring. This is a big, Israelis, by the way, who know what the Hebrew says, they're like, are you? It's just not that compelling. But there's a weird phenomenon that happens when you read the Amidah enough. The words start to just become the background noise. What you're practicing is the state of mind. It becomes a mantra. Only then do you understand, now I get what these people are talking about. They have this like connected prayer experience. Right? They've done it enough that the words are like just the background noise. They're like a rehearsed state of mind. They will do and then they understand. Look, I bring this up this morning. It's not a fancy drosh. It's just 4 simple ideas. Because I think it's really important to think about how are we approaching our tradition. We don't have to stick to one. We can leap between them. But this idea, na'aseh v'nishma, I hope you're taking notes, really. This is one of the questions in the passport, right? Not written notes because it's Shabbat. But like with na'aseh v'nishma, right, is one of the ways we become Jews. It's a quintessentially Jewish idea. right? It's a quintessentially Jewish idea, and then I realized, and every Jew has a different way of interpreting it, which is also quintessentially Jewish. But it has become, in various circles, a fundamental part of our tradition. So with those ideas, Shabbat Shalom, let's go have a Torah service.